Welcome back to another edition of Hafeman Brothers Talking Packers. Why do I sound so excited after that game? That is a good question. Ben, yuck. One word, how do you describe that game?
Well, I don't have a word, but I got a saying. And it was Vince Lombardi when he yelled, "What the hell's going on out there?" That's all I kept saying.
Oh, man.
It was the ugliest thing I've ever seen in my life.
Well, hold on now. Hold on. I
thought the Lions game was bad.
Wait.
This was disgustingly pathetic.
Hold on. I'm just trying to make you not overstate. You and I were fans back in the 80s. It cannot have been the ugliest thing we've seen in our life. I think we've seen games like that, but
that offense was the ugliest thing I've ever seen. I've never seen an offense that pathetic. Except for when I watched the Vikings.
Oh, you're just saying that because you're in Minnesota. Butter them up over there. I mean, stir the pot. That's what you like to do. Well, hey, at least the Vikings accommodated, and the Bears and the Lions all accommodated and all lost too. That helps.
I know, but I mean, I'm just mad. So you just do. You tell me stuff, I'll tell you stuff, and then there you go.
I think there's a couple of important things to address. Because obviously, well, first off, when a game goes like that, it's just terrible. Okay? You could just sit here and harp on everything, but everything was bad. Offense is bad. Defense is bad. Special teams is bad. It's all bad, 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 bad. All of it. So we haven't seen a game like that in a while where everything was just bad. But it's only one game. I want to put it in perspective. And we're going to finish with that too. It's only one game. Still 7-2. If you thought at the start of the season after 9 weeks, Packers 7-2, you'd have felt pretty good, right? Let's be honest. Pretty good?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Secondly, all the other teams in the division lost, so still in control of all that. That's good. And the other thing that I really, really, really hope after that terrible, awful game, which, I think it was probably worse for the fans than the players because,
dude, we
wasted our afternoon into early evening watching that garbage. And
what about all the people that paid $500-$600 on scalp tickets and then maybe flew to California to watch this game because they can't get tickets for Lambeau or whatever?
At least they got to enjoy nice weather. At least they got to enjoy nice weather when it was really cold here.
So they paid $600 a ticket for nice weather?
That's
bullshit.
People do it. Whoa.
You're going to have to bleep that out.
I got to have the little creative editing. Woo-hoo. We do not have the 5-second delay like they do on live broadcast, so we have to go back and do some creative editing here.
I'm still mad. It's been 2 days. I'm still mad.
Are you really? I just let that go almost immediately after it. I was like, this is so bad. I just had to let it go. Oh my goodness.
But I just watched Skip Bayless. That's why.
Oh, see, so, that's not good.
When you give him something like this, he just loves it.
Oh yeah,
he just grinds it. Even Jessie sitting next to me, and she's like, "Boy, he really hates Aaron Rodgers, doesn't he?" I'm like, "Yeah, I don't know why.
Yeah,
I don't know what he ever did to him, but he hates him.
He's just ridiculous. He's so terrible." Skip Bayless, that is. Okay, so anyway, no, sorry. The one other really, really good thing that I hope is that this is a wake up refocuser for the team, because how a lot of times teams will need that at some. I mean, it's a long season, right? You got the preseason, training camp, and OTAs, and all this business leading up to it. So it's a long time they're doing the same things, and football, and then you're into the season, and you're cruising along like that, right? I mean, every game they've either dominated or been competitive. Even though the loss of the Eagles, very, very close, all that, right? It wasn't a stinker game like this. So you need that a little bit. I don't know why it is. It's human nature. It's all those things. But you do need something like this to just kick you in the butt and say, whoa, we got to be ready or this can happen. And it was clear that there was no waking them up during the game because there was no all of a sudden hey, they were back on. Halftime didn't do it. Nothing else changed it. It was the same the whole game.
That was the thing that bothered me the most. At halftime, they were down 9-0. 9-0. They did absolutely zero on offense. If anything, they went backwards. The defense couldn't stop anybody until they got inside the red zone. Then they held them to field goals. Thank God. But it was only 9-0, and they got the ball after halftime, and they did nothing different. And then after the game, they're like, oh, well, we had so many false starts and this and that. It took us out of our game plan. I'm like, how did it take you out of your game plan? You're only down by 9 points. What did you do at halftime? How did you not adjust? There's a couple of plays, a million plays. There's times like when Melvin Ingram is lined up in front of Billy Turner, double team him. Billy Turner couldn't block me. He sure as heck ain't going to block Melvin Ingram by himself. I mean, what are they doing? Do they not recognize this stuff? When Joey Bosa and Melvin Ingram are on the same side of the field on defense, why is Corey Linsley going over to help Billy Turner and some Yahoo and leaving Jenkins and Bakhtiari one-on-one against those two guys, and they both got creamed?
I don't know.
I mean, what the hell?
Linsley
where is the pass?
Yeah.
Where is the outlet pass? Where is the quick slant?
Mm-hmm.
Why is it on 3rd down and 8, Aaron Rodgers throws a 50-yard bomb to Lazard on 3rd down when you need a goddamn third down to get going?
You are still really mad.
What is he doing?
Oh, my goodness.
It wasn't one thing, Jason. It was 5 things. It was 75,000 things.
Yeah.
Protection issues. The play calling was stupid. Where is Aaron Jones? Why are they keep throwing to Devontae over and over again when he's not doing anything? What they call the frickin' Devontae wide receiver screen with nobody I don't get it.
And nobody blocked for him. Yeah, I know. That was great.
I mean, what are they doing?
I don't know. I can't. I looked at I wrote notes. I was like, where are the running backs? And you're right. So you had an offensive line that was getting destroyed. They could not handle the San Diego front at all, especially Bosa and Ingram. And they were doing a lot of smart things with them, like you said, putting them on the same side and all that stuff. And again, for some reason, Corey Linsley can't figure it out which side he should help at. And it's not that hard. You say, oh, the really good guys are over here. That's the side you should lean to and help out, but he doesn't. So anyway, that being said,
wherever
the
Melvin
tackles,
Ingram was, that's where he should have went.
Right.
Wherever Melvin Ingram was, help out that guy. And if Melvin Ingram is on the outside going up against Bakhtiari or Blaga, then he can't do it. But if he's lined up over the top of Jenkins or Billy Turner, like, you don't know who Melvin Ingram is? Like, I don't get it. Joey Bosa is creaming Bakhtiari's butt. Like, what's going on with that?
Yeah, it was bad. And Bulaga was like, he didn't even slow him down.
Pathetic.
Yeah.
But even all those things happening, the part that got me the most mad, like I said, was after the game when they said they got out of their game plan when they're only down by 9 points.
Right.
I don't know. That's the part that bothers me the most, because I was so excited about the last 2-3 weeks. It seemed like they were calling plays to get guys open. They were doing things that made sense. And then every now and again, Rodgers would make a crazy Rodgers play. But this game, it was just like stupid. It wasn't like the Chargers were doing anything crazy. They're playing like a zone defense with 7 dudes back, and they pressured with 4 or 3, and that was it. And the Packers couldn't handle it. But still, do the quick passes then.
Right.
And how do you not run the ball? If they've only got 3 guys on the line of scrimmage, run the ball.
Yeah, I don't know. And that's the weird part. I have to say, coaches. Well, and you heard these guys say this too, which makes no sense to me. I hear this all the time, where they will say, "Oh, we had penalties. We had penalties that took us out of our plan." Why? If you get a false start penalty, that's a 5-yard penalty. Why does that drastically change your plan? It's not like all of a sudden you're at 1st and 40. It's 5 yards. So if you wanted to call a run, then call a run. If you get decent blocking and you have one guy miss or one broken tackle, that run can be a 1st down. So just call it. Do what you plan to do. If and that's part that made me a little crazy too, because it was like I heard LaFleur say it, and I heard Rodgers say it, and I heard LaFleur say it again. How we just got out of our plan. We didn't even get to a bunch of the plays we worked on all week. If you worked on all this stuff all week, call the stuff you worked on. I don't care what happened in the game. I don't care the situational change, 5 yards lost. Who gives a rip, man? Just do what you plan to do. And if that doesn't work, okay, then do something else. But if you thought this is the way we want to attack this team and these are the plays we're going to run, and all of a sudden you let a little stupid false start penalty throw you out of that, why? It doesn't make any sense to me. I don't get it.
This is what I'm hoping. This is a learning tool now for LaFleur. He goes back, he looks at what happened, and he says, okay, no matter what happens in a game, no matter how bad things get, we've studied for a week here on what we think we can do against this team. We have to stick with what we know and stay with it, because that's the only explanation that you can have as for why they suck that bad. Is either one, their plan is terrible, but then he said they didn't even do the plan. So then you have no plan? Like, it doesn't make any sense. NFL is matchups. Understanding what the matchups are, understanding what the strengths of the opponent is, what your strengths are, what their weaknesses are, attacking their weaknesses. So if they didn't have a plan or didn't know what it was, and if they did have a plan and they avoided their plan and went to some other thing, then what are they doing? They're just going out there and doing whatever? It's a little scary for me.
Even when you're trailing in a game, and announcers will say it, too, when you get down by a couple scores, and let's say it's a third quarter, you don't have to just throw the ball to get back in the game. You do what you're good at or what you thought you were good at to get a score, and then you're back in the game. You don't start doing things that aren't what you wanted to do and hope that works. Like, you need a score. So do what you think you're best at. I don't care what that is. So
I mean,
that part makes me nuts.
In the game, yeah, there comes a time in a game when you've got to change and you've got to speed up.
At some point, yeah.
But not 9-0 at halftime.
Right.
9-0 at halftime, you're only down by 2 scores. That's like nothing.
Or even 12-0. You don't need to change.
Yeah, even at 12-0 when they did nothing, had the punt, and then Chargers go down, and the defense holds them to another field goal, and it was 12-0 in the third quarter. I was like, we still got a chance here.
Mm-hmm.
But when it was 19-3 or whatever, that was when I was like, forget it. This is done. They can't do anything. They can't stop them.
A couple of simple things, right, that seem to stand out, and why you don't adjust, I have no clue. Or why it takes you a full half to adjust, I have no clue. Very clear, your offensive line is getting destroyed on passing plays. And I don't care that you're in longer yardage situations. When your tackles can't even hold up against these guys, where is an outlet in the flat? Like a running back, not Jimmy Graham. Give me a guy who can make people miss and who's fast. Just dodging out in the flat. I mean, if you're not going to have them block and help chip, you can actually have them chip and then go out in the flat, which would be even better. But send them out in the flat. I mean, especially against Kansas City, you saw that middle linebackers could not hang with your running backs. And where was that this whole game? That play can work anytime. Where was it? I don't get it. So get those matchups, like you said. And the other part is when you cannot block the other team, but you want to throw the ball, then the ball has to come out quick, or there has to be, even if you want to try to get the ball downfield or do whatever, you have to have an option for the quarterback. If those guys are getting blown up right away, that he can get rid of the ball. And on a bunch of plays, there were no outlets. There were no options. It was like the old, everybody's running.
McCarthy offense.
Everybody's running downfield. Their backs are all to him. They're not looking at him, and they're not open. So what is he supposed to do?
There was like a 2nd and 8 where everybody ran a 10-yard route, and then Rodgers got creamed in like a second because Bulaga got his butt kicked, or somebody.
Yeah, probably Bulaga.
Actually, I think it was the Billy Turner one where he didn't block Melvin Ingram, where he left one-on-one. But either way, it was like 2nd and 8, and there was no Urban Fryer route. That's the shallow cross. The shallow cross is a quarterback's best friend. Because if the defense is playing man against them, the guy's going to be open. If the defense is playing zone against them, then you can flood one side of the field. I don't understand why the shallow cross is not in every single play. I know this sounds dumb, but when I play Madden, which I know it's a football video game, I understand, and it's not like real life. But whenever I play Madden, no matter what passing play I call, I always change at least one receiver into a shallow cross, so that if for whatever reason, whatever I'm looking at, everybody's covered, I can at least dump it off for a 2-yard gain or whatever. And the Packers don't run it. They don't run that. Everybody else in the NFL does. I mean, the Chargers did yesterday.
Yep.
Help your quarterback out. For years and years, I would listen to different, like Chris Sims and a couple other quarterbacks on Hasselbeck. They'd always say, they're like, the Aaron Rodgers, the Packers offense, it's not very quarterback friendly. Like, he has to make perfect throws. There's no easy passes. There's no, that's the way it used to be. And this year, it was starting to be a little different. And it's like gradually, it's turned back into this one-on-one matchup stuff again.
Mm-hmm.
Instead of schemes. Schemes are what win. Schemes, like, that was the other thing. They're so good at drives, like long drives, controlling the clock. In this game, it was just 3 and outs. They're 2 of 11 on third down again. And that's pathetic. It was honestly the worst thing I've ever. I mean, I know it's hyperbole, whatever. I don't care. It was terrible. It was terrible.
Yeah, it was bad. Okay, O-line was awful, but you know what else really stuck out is the D-line. Look, I don't know if there's something going on with Kenny Clark, but
he's getting blocked by one guy.
He is not
getting off the block.
He's not doing anything. He's not. And
he had one play where he did something I saw, but
this is a guy
the pass play.
This is a first-round pick, a guy they've raved about forever, a guy that looked really strong the last couple of years, like he would earn that big second contract and be worth it. And I don't know if there's a nagging injury. I don't know if it's too many snaps. I don't know if they needed to bolster that part of the roster, but these guys, look, I love Dean Lowry, but he's not a guy you want out there 60 snaps. He's a guy you want out there 20 or 30 snaps where he can bring maximum energy every time and make up for his probably lack of athleticism and things like that with his energy. Same thing with Tyler Lancaster, same kind of guy. I don't want him out there 60 snaps, 50 snaps. It's not good. It's not a good recipe. And when those guys in the middle are getting destroyed, when they're getting pushed around, when they're getting blocked and not getting off blocks, then the whole thing, the offense can do whatever they want. Like, and you saw the Chargers. The Chargers, did you see it? The Chargers had more yards in this one game than they had running than they had the last 4 games.
They didn't even break 40 yards rushing the last 4 games.
Yuck.
Like each game. Melvin Gordon had 80 yards rushing. 64 of his 80 yards were up the middle. They had 150-some rushing yards total in that game. The other problem I think it is that they're having is they're not playing a 3-4 defense. They're playing a 4-1-6. That's what they're playing, a 4-1-6. And the 2 of the guys on the defensive line are actually outside linebackers. So they're way small. They'll play Kenny Clark and one other big guy, Lancaster or whoever, or Montavious Adams or whoever is playing down low. And then they got Za'Darius and Preston on the outsides, and then Blake running around. And then sometimes, they'll have Goodson in there when they play with 5 D-backs instead of 6 D-backs. But with all this whole D-back situation stuff, people are just running right at them. They don't even worry. And then they can't stop the pass either. They started off this game playing man, and they were getting beat by man defense. Like they couldn't cover anybody. And then they switched to a zone in the second half, or at least they're doing more zone in the second half, and they sucked then too. The other thing is Preston Smith and Zadarius Smith are really good players. They're good players. But what that game on Sunday showed you is what a dominant player can do on defense. What a guy like Bosa, I mean, he just school Bakhtiari like nothing. I mean, he was just like, oh my God, it was pathetic. And it just shows you what a difference maker can do. And that's going to get to our bye week talk. When you've got the 12th pick,
oh boy,
you need to get a difference maker. You need to get a guy who can change the game. Here's the other thing that drives me nuts on defense is bend but don't break crap, right?
Mm-hmm.
There was a 2nd and 8 play where there was 2 receivers lined up on the left side for the Chargers. The outside receiver, all he did, he ran a 8-yard slant on 2nd and 8. Okay? And I don't know which corner was covering him. The corner ran backwards, backpedaled 10 yards.
Mm-hmm.
And just gave him an 8-yard slant route. And it was 2nd and 8. I mean, you're just giving him the first down. It was a simple route concept. The outside wide receiver, 8-yard slant. The inside guy in the slot ran a 5-yard out. That's all it was. And because it was man defense, the guy covering the slot went with the guy, on the out pattern. And then the slant route was wide open because the guy covering him backpedaled 10 yards. What happened? I don't know. It's like watching Dom Capers again. They're just playing off. They're afraid of big plays. You're afraid of Keenan Allen running deep on you? I think I'm faster than Keenan Allen.
With a quarterback who only threw one deep pass the whole game. And I know they hit that one, but this is not a guy. This is not Patrick Mahomes. This is not Carson Wentz. This is not a dude you're worried about throwing it over your head. And you don't have receivers that are burners. So what are you worried about? That was the thing that bugged me so much the whole time. Because even when they were playing man early in the game, they were not playing press man. They were playing off a little bit, and then they were reacting to the route. Well, then they still got beat. So if you're not going to get up in guys' faces like Keenan Allen and Mike Williams when Phillip Rivers is the quarterback, you're not going to challenge those guys and make them beat you over the top. Make them do that consistently. And if you're not going to do that, who are you going to do it against? You're just going to wait till you play Trubisky again? And that's the only time you'll do it?
The game plan that they had against the Bears is what they should have done against the Chargers. They were not afraid of the Bears throwing the ball past 20 yards. And they played bump and run, smash you in the face defense. And they dominated them. Granted, Mr. Trubisky stinks. Phillip Rivers is pretty good. But Phillip Rivers is not that great. I mean, he's a statue back there. And if you're just sitting there backing up on, your corners are backing up and giving them the easy 1-2, catch the ball, throw the ball, 8-yard slant route, he doesn't have to do much. You're just giving them easy passes left and right. They're not playing aggressive. They're playing, remember the first couple games where, Savage was, going after balls in the air, and Amos was going after balls in the air, and Jair Alexander was breaking up. Remember how he had, 8 pass breakups in the first 2 weeks or whatever it was?
Yep.
And now he's only got 12 the rest of the whole season. So he's only got 4 in the last couple games, last 6 games. They're just not aggressive. I don't know what's going on. And that's how these big long drives, and then they get inside the red zone, and then obviously the field shrinks.
Mm-hmm.
And then when you play, the way they've been playing, obviously then they can make plays then because the field is smaller. They don't have to cover as much space. They're not backing up 20 yards to cover a receiver because there's only 10 yards left. And that's why they stop them every time they get inside at least the first couple times until they got too tired and they just ran all over them in the second half. But it's just that I don't get why, if they're afraid,
well, I'll tell
maybe
you.
they know their guys can't cover. I don't get it.
I got it. There's some inferring here, but if you go back to recent press conferences, Matt LaFleur is harping about the explosive plays, the number of explosive plays the defense has been giving up, right? I was prepared today to really question Mike Pettin, and I still think we need to question Mike Pettin, but I think this is coming top down to Mike Pettin, and he doesn't know how to adjust and play a softer style with this group yet. And maybe he won't figure it out because maybe that's not what they can do well. But I think it's coming from the head coach saying, look, Mike, we got to stop giving up all these big plays. So come up with a defense that doesn't let us give up these big plays. Well, you just witnessed what it's like when you play that style and to not give up big plays. Instead, you give up 14-play, 8.5-minute drives. You get 3 possessions in the whole first half, 15 plays on offense. That's what it looks like. Is that better? Is that better than playing aggressive and making the other team beat you than, like you said, just giving it to them? A guy like Rivers, and you play any of these experienced quarterbacks, they're just going to take it. They're going to be, oh, yeah, okay, dump it to the running back here, or a short pass here, or a short pass there, because they're backing up. And is that I'll tell you, as a fan, that's not better. I'd rather see you get beat over the top by a big play, because then we get the ball back and get a chance, versus you staying on the field that long, and it wears on guys. Don't tell me it doesn't. Like they talked about, oh, the defense ran out of steam. Well, guess what? Part of that was their fault. Like, yes, the offense didn't help them out by having when they got the ball, being productive with it, but the defense didn't get stops and didn't get off the field, and they wore themselves down. But based on what I've heard and what I've seen, I think there had to have been something coming down from the head coach LaFleur to say, we've got to cut out these big plays. Mike Pettin says, well, then we've got to play soft and not have our guys do bump and run and not have our safeties attack. Instead, have them play the ha-ha style, which is their 15 to 20 yards back, and their first movement is backwards, which is stupid, including the play that drove me probably the most nuts on the defensive side was when you still had at least a sliver of hope, at least a sliver, and you need to get a third down stop, and it is third down and 2 or third and 1, and you have your one safety 15 yards behind the line of scrimmage. What? Do you want to stop them from getting the first down, or are you worried about them beating you over the top? At that point, who cares? You want to stop them from getting the first down. That should be a 0 coverage. There should be no safety back. Everybody up on the line of scrimmage. You are trying to stop them from getting a yard, so you still have a chance in the game, and you're still playing that style? Give me a break, man. You can't do it. And this team can't do it. So you've got to get back to being aggressive. If you give up some big plays, so what? Because you need to rely on your offense to get big plays for you, and you need to give them a chance. But if you're sitting there and can't get off the field and the other team possesses the ball for that long, they don't get a chance. So I think that's probably all going on.
I agree. Because that is what they've been talking about, big plays, big plays. But a lot of times these big plays are because they're playing off in the first place.
And Savage doesn't look good right now. He's not.
Savage did not look good.
He is not playing the same.
He was not. No. There was a couple plays. I don't know what he was doing. He was playing man coverage for some reason. And he doesn't look the same. They need to keep him in the middle of the field as a free safety and just let him freaking read the quarterback's eyes and just go break crap up.
Yeah, there were times they had Amos playing that deep spot, and then Savage, like you said, getting manned up against a tight end or something. No, you want Amos on that because he's a little bigger, a little more physical, and he doesn't have the speed. Like, Amos has been the same. He's consistent. He's solid at a number of things. He's not great at anything. And so you don't want him in a deep safety spot. That makes no sense. You want the fast guy like Savage in the deep safety spot.
Yep.
Dumb.
I agree.
I mean, come on. Is this really, I mean, I don't want to say it, but I had a stupid thought. I was like, is this kind of their way of trying to say they don't listen to our podcast to do the opposite of what we've just been talking about. It's been great the last several weeks. And we finally said, hey, maybe someone inside the Packer organization listens to our podcast because they're doing the stuff we're talking about and it's working. And so they're like, oh, we can't say that we listen to these two jokers. So let's do the complete opposite of what they've been saying just to prove them wrong and say that we don't, listen to them. And then they do all this dumb stuff that doesn't make any sense. It's just stupid. Now you got me all mad. I thought I must have had some repressed anger about this game because I thought I was over it.
You know what's scaring me too?
I thought I was over
Blake
it.
Martinez is starting to turn into AJ Hawk.
He doesn't look good either. God,
he's starting to turn into AJ Hawk. He's instead of attacking the line of scrimmage, he's moving sideways.
I know.
He's moving backwards. Like, he's getting a bunch of tackles, but they're downfield. And part of it is the defensive line isn't helping him much. I mean, they're getting their butts kicked.
That's true. That does affect him quite a bit.
So, I mean, that hurts it.
He's always in the middle. So if those guys are getting pushed around, that does affect him a lot.
Yeah, that's one of those things back when Ray Lewis used to play, and he always, someone always asked him, like, how are you getting all these plays, blah, blah. He's like, oh, I got Saragusa in front of me, and I got, I can't remember who the other guy was that was on the defensive line for the Baltimore Ravens.
Helodi Nada and some other big
those guys. They didn't get a whole lot of tackles, but they chew up two blockers, and Ray Lewis would run around and make all the plays, and you're like, sweet.
Yep.
And here's the thing. We've been talking about this stuff for weeks now with the defense. In this game, the sad part is when you watch it again, like I was, I'm watching some of the stuff over again, replays and all whatever. And I mean, they did only give up 9 points in the first half. Granted, they gave up points on 3 out of 4 drives because there was only one time where they had made a punt. And they let them chew up a whole bunch of clock. But they still only gave up 9 points. So, and it could have been 21. So it's like I can't be as critical of the defense, but it did seem, you're watching it and they're getting creamed. But they did, in my opinion, the defense did enough in the first half to keep them alive. And the offense just stunk. Did absolutely nothing. Like the whole game.
It's true, but
there are a lot of things. But there are a lot of things that need to be cleaned up on defense. Yes, but at least we can admit that hey, they kept them in the game for the majority of it.
Oh, they did on the scoreboard. But what I'm going to tell you is those long drives where they could not get off the field. Those were just as damaging to the final result of the game as how horrible the offense was. Because even though, yes, point-wise, in the first half, they only gave up the field goals, that, again, wore the defense down. They weren't playing the same. The offense wasn't getting more opportunities. And then eventually, the guys even played worse. So then you saw, in the second half, you saw those field goals turn into touchdowns. And you saw them not be able to stop them on key moments. And you saw guys like Jair Alexander, who, I don't know how well he's played the last few weeks. I know there were a few games in there where they didn't throw a lot of passes his way and teams attacked Kevin King. But he's not as great as he thinks he is. And he's not as great as probably some people have been touting him to be. He's had some not all-star receivers really make him look pretty bad the last few weeks. And maybe that is you're not letting him play his best style. Maybe you just got to remember a guy like Doug Evans back in the 90s, right? He could not play off. He could not play a certain style, but what he could play is put him in a guy's face, let him jam him, let him bump him, and that he could cover guys well. Maybe that's what Alexander needs to do all the time. Because when he's playing off, once in a while he might make a play, but most of the time he's just getting beat.
Did you see in the fourth quarter there? I don't know what was going on, but Tony Brown was like yelling at Tremont.
Tremont was fired, and you don't usually see him yelling at people on the sideline.
No. I don't know what was going on there, but
I don't either. And there were no questions about that I caught after the game. I didn't hear anybody ask about it or look into it.
I didn't either. I guess I got to pay more attention to see what's going on with that. But
I think the D-backs coach was over there too, so I couldn't tell if it was something with the coach or players at each other or what. I couldn't even tell if Tony Brown was trying to calm him down and the coach he was mad at. I don't know what was going on, but yeah, that was That was weird to see because Tremon's usually pretty cool.
Is Tony Brown
customer.
back? Like, was he didn't play?
He did
wasn't
play
on the field ever.
Yeah,
was
he did. He did
Oh,
play
he did?
this game. Yeah, he did play.
Well, they need him. He's another guy who can play bump and run. He's better bump and run, smacking guys around.
I know, but if your head coach is telling you no more big plays, and then you decide you got to play everybody off and back up right away, this is what you get: 15 play, 9-minute drives. Like, is that what you want? Come on, man.
This is what they got to do. They got to
Yuck.
just, you know what? They got to do aggressive. Just don't even. Who gives a crap anymore? Single safety. Have Savage be back there. Everybody else, line of scrimmage, smash people up, blitz from all over the place, do a bunch of crazy stuff. That's all you can do.
Agreed.
If you're going to lose, go down swinging. Don't go down backpedaling. It's just like when I talked about the run game, whenever that was, week 3 of Hafeman brothers talking, and I was saying how they were moving sideways instead of moving forward and attacking the defense. It's the same thing. When you are not the aggressive unit, you lose. You're losing ground. You're the reactionary team, which means they get to do stuff, and then you have to react to it and figure it out. That split second of time gives the other team the advantage. And the Packers are letting the other team have the advantage on both sides, offense and defense. It's got to stop.
It's the only way to play defense. You got to be aggressive, man. If you what is you have to make the other team make plays and beat you. You know, make it difficult on them. You got to put pressure on the quarterback. You got to throw off receivers' timing. You have to play that way. If you don't, you get what you saw the last couple weeks. And yeah, I get it. Okay, it worked in the Chiefs game good enough, but that's because your offensive players, your running backs, and your quarterback made some crazy plays to pull out that game for you. That's not going to happen every week. You can't rely on that every week. You got to have an aggressive defense. And if they beat you over the top, they beat you over the top. You tip your cap and you move on. But come on, this stuff? No. There's no place for it. There's no good reason for it. And all it's going to do is it just takes longer for you to get beat. And again, you don't think that affects the offense when they're off the field that long? It does. And then there's that much more pressure when you've been off the field for 9 game minutes, and who knows how long the actual time that is. That could be 20 minutes or something. And then you finally get the ball back. Then there's like, oh man, okay, we gotta turn this into something because we finally got the ball. And then you screw something up, or you put pressure on yourself, or somebody screws up, and then all of a sudden it's affecting the way you play. It's just, and people can say, oh, well, we didn't lose our confidence, we wouldn't feel any extra pressure. BS, man. In that situation, you are. So be aggressive. I think you answered my question. One of my questions was, is it time to question Mike Pettin? But I think, as I thought through that and we talked through it, I think actually it's LaFleur's probably mandate to Pettin, and he's just trying to deal with it. So we'll give him a little bit of a pass at this point. But he better convince him that they need to be aggressive again. All right, I got one more thing for you before we move on, because I know we were going to make a shorter show this week. All right, lots of people made a big deal. I'm sure you heard Skip make a big deal about it. Lots of people made a big deal about Aaron Rodgers' comments after the game, and not a bunch of the other things he said, where he said, "Hey, I got to play better. I got to look at myself first. We all got to be better." All that sort of stuff, whatever. And then he actually had some tough questions where he kind of made light of some of the stuff and said, "Look, he'd like to flush it, but we have to look at it critically and be honest with ourselves and our play and all that stuff." But, of course, somebody else asked him about some other things, and then he said that he wasn't sure, but people didn't seem focused. He wasn't sure what they did with their time, and had some comments about that. What did you think about those comments, Ben? Good or bad? Because everybody's talking about him.
Well, I listened to Shannon Sharp and Skip, and today they annoyed me.
Greg Jennings, was he in there too or not?
I didn't hear Greg Jennings say anything.
All right.
But they said, like, oh, why did they bring this up to the, this is something you should bring up to the team, not bring it up to the media, and blah, 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 bloop, blop. And I'm like, listen, part of me is like, Rodgers is one of the most passive-aggressive guys in the history of all time. And I do believe he's taken a shot at Matt LaFleur in that comment, where he said we have to reevaluate our routine and something else over the last 48 hours. I think part of the new locker room has been this kind of relaxed, everybody's cool, everybody's having a good time. You know, the entire defense is celebrating after a turnover and all that kind of stuff. And I think it's fun when you're winning, but it's also a little bit of out of control type thing. And something happened we found out this week. It happened in September with Zadarius Smith and Gary and Kiki, where things are going on outside of the facility that are a little too relaxed. And I think Rodgers is taking a shot at LaFleur here, saying, hey, we went down there a day early. Everybody was hanging out, having a good time, and maybe the focus wasn't all there. And I wish he would have said it to the media, but he did, because now it gives guys like Skip a chance to say, well, there he is again. He's starting the rift. And it's one thing to, if he does believe that, to go to LaFleur and say, hey, man, I think we need to button it up a little bit. But when you say it in public, now everybody's going to run with it, and that's all you're going to hear. Because that's what everybody's talking about in the offseason. Ooh, will he listen? Will he be able to be coached? Will he listen to the new coach? Will they butt heads? Blah, blah, blah. When you're winning, everything's fine. And then if you lose, and especially a game like this, and you make a comment like that saying, hey, we got to reevaluate our routine for the last 48 hours, where the coach decided to go down a day early and probably give everybody some extra time to hang around California, that's calling them out. That's calling out your teammates. That's calling out the organization and saying, hey, we weren't focused. And to be quite honest, they weren't focused on offense anyways. So it bothers me. Rodgers has done this for years. He'll say a little jibe here. And I know from his interview with Mike Tirico, he says, when I say stuff in interviews, I purposely mention guys' names. I purposely say things. He knows what he's talking about most of the time. He knows exactly what he's saying. And sometimes it's there to motivate guys. Sometimes it's there to jab at guys. And I really wish he wouldn't do it. And it's one of the other things that I don't like about him sometimes.
All right, I have a question for you then.
What are you going to do? What?
Let's just think of your job. Well, maybe not your job. Whatever. Let's, as a hypothetical, any person, any job. And you are highly responsible for your organization's success, and everyone looks to you, and you've been doing this job for a long time, but you have a limited amount of time to still be successful at that job. In his case, a limited amount of time to still play, and you've gone through all of this stretch of time where you haven't reached the success that you wanted, and there have been many, many reasons why, but you've probably seen stuff like this, locker rooms that weren't as close, guys not buying in, guys not doing their part, all that sort of stuff. You take it very seriously. You spend extra time preparing. You do all that stuff. You feel like you're ready to go. Not everybody's at least coming in with the same effort and attitude, and maybe you see a difference in you, because you would know, right? If you're in the locker room all the time and this is in the 60s where Max McGee is out, whatever, drinking until the game or whatever and stuff like that. This is a very different time. But if you are in that position and you see guys like that, and then you come out and you have a game like this, is that totally out of line?
In a press conference, yes.
What if you said things to guys?
Well, then that's different.
Directly. And it's not working.
Okay, but it was right after the game. It was the press conference right after the game.
I understand, but maybe there's been signs of this in other games too, in other times, and maybe, we don't know. We don't know. But I was listening to Mark Tauscher's show here recently, and he said something about that he doesn't like things like that in the media either, but he said he knows players that would try to make that message heard in the locker room or go to guys, talk to them, whatever, and if things aren't getting through or there's no change, then they might kick it up a notch and bring it out through the media. So it could have been a case like that. I don't know.
I just wish he would go to the locker room or go to the floor after the game and say, "Hey, I don't know if this worked." Instead of going to media and saying, "Yeah, I don't know, our routine the last 48 hours might have been a problem." It's not a good look. He just needs to
fair.
play, do his job, keep things in house. Don't even. It's what. It's just the fact that everybody's waiting for it. You know what I mean? Everybody's waiting for him to say something because they want to just jump on it and be all, "Oh, told you the problem, told you it's going to cause a problem." They're just waiting, and every little thing is going to lead to that, and that's what it did, and that's all I've been hearing. Because they're just waiting for something. And they're going to blow it up 5 times worse than it is. And if he's so stinking smart like he says he is, and everybody in the world says he is, he should know that.
I mean, if he's this smart, maybe this is it. Maybe he's trying to create some sort of buzz that takes the attention and the pressure off the team and gets everybody else distracted on this stuff. I don't know. Maybe it's that. Maybe I'm an eternal optimist and I just want it to be that, but who knows? Maybe he's trying to play with these yahoos in the media that go off on this stuff and trying to do that, and maybe he's internally gone to the team and said, "Hey guys, I did this, but here's why." And who knows? I'm hoping that's it. But I'm not.
It's scary.
Confident.
It's scary either way. What they need to do is watch the tape one time of the game and say, "Ugh," and then just throw it away.
Yeah, it's terrible.
And then look at Carolina and try to figure out how you're going to stop McCaffrey and that defense that they have. That's pretty good. Figure out how you're going to attack that and just move on. Like, don't even mess around with this last game because it just doesn't pay. Something happened. The focus wasn't there. Guys weren't ready. The team wasn't ready. Whatever the case is, go back and look at what you did right. Be more aggressive on defense. Be a little smarter on offense. Be able to adjust if something's not working. God, I'm still going back to that. That's the thing that bothered me the most in that game. Even more than the defense and all this other stuff. Is that when you're down 9-0 at halftime, you didn't adjust anything. You didn't adjust play calling. You didn't adjust route concepts. You didn't stick with your plan. Doesn't that scare you? Like, why would you not? Like, I honestly believed they were going to come back. I was like 9-0. Oh, they got this. The defense saved them. Rodgers will come out now. They'll know what to go. They'll know what to do. They'll go do exactly what they did against the Chiefs. Do some quick passes. Do some nice runs. And they didn't do any of that. They just did the same crap and nothing happened. I don't know. Should we move to Carolina here or what?
We kind of did, but yeah, I get we did. I thought that was going to happen too. I thought they were going to just figure it out, and they clearly didn't. And yeah, now they got to move on. But Carolina, yeah, at least it's a home game. McCaffrey, they run a bunch of stuff through him, and he's not that big, but man, he does everything well. So they're gonna have their hands full. And then, of course, every tight end looks awesome against him. So, yikes! I mean, goodness gracious, I don't know that part. Okay, I know you got upset about that too, but I'm telling you, I can't get any more upset than I do as I did when you want to stop a team from getting a yard and you have one of your safeties 15 yards back. I look at plays too, like goal line plays, and sometimes where they're getting close to the goal line and you want to stop the team from getting in the end zone, right? But you have however many of your players, 4 players back, 5 or more, like way into the end zone, but you have to actually stop them from getting to the goal line. But these guys are 5-7 yards back, almost at the back end of the end zone. I see those things that makes me absolutely nuts. I don't get it.
I don't either.
Makes no sense. All right, what do you have on anything else on Carolina, or are we just hanging it up for the week? Because I'm good with that too.
I'm scared, dude. I'm starting to get scared now.
Don't be scared.
It's so crazy how I was so optimistic last week. I was like, I'm pumped up, super excited. I was like, woohoo, Aaron Jones, and wait till Devontae comes back. Well, he's back,
They'll
and
get
they
it.
look 5,000 times worse.
I get it figured out.
Let me ask you a question. If I told you Devontae Adams, after 9 games, he only played in 4.5 games. But I asked you, how many touchdowns would Devontae Adams have in those 4.5 games he played, even though he got hurt? Before the season started, what would you think? How many touchdowns do you think Devontae would have?
3, 4.
I would say more than that, but at least 3 or 4. 0. The guy's got 0 touchdowns, as you know, because you have him on fantasy football on your team.
Yep, he's been not great.
How can a guy who is repeatedly have double-digit touchdowns for years and years have 0 touchdowns? And I know the answer to the question. You know what the answer is?
No.
Jimmy Graham.
Oh, Jimmy Graham. That's right, the red zone weapon.
Jimmy Graham needs to go away. He needs to just get hurt and go on injured reserve so they stop playing him. Because he is useless.
He's actually been a solid blocker, I got to say.
Yeah, you know what? That's sad. That's a weird part. He's been blocking
know,
better than anything else.
I would say
but
that.
But he cannot run. He cannot run.
No.
I don't know why I went there. It's weird.
Because you've been pretty hard on Jimmy Graham for quite a while here. But that's okay.
Dude,
I get it.
Forgive it. Do you know why?
He's not good.
They cut Jordy for him. So when you cut Jordy for a guy, that guy better be dang good. Because Jordy's going to get you 10 touchdowns a year. Jordy could have one leg. He's going to get you 10 touchdowns because Rodgers is going to find him. Jimmy Graham ain't doing that. Jordy's going to get you some first downs, too, because he'll catch the ball. And he'll run a little bit. Jimmy Graham can't even run faster than me. Yeah, he's 6'7", which helps him. But it takes him 25 years to turn around once he catches the ball. And by that time, there's 2 guys there tackling him. But I don't want to make this Jimmy Graham thing. As far as Carolina goes, I don't know. I'm scared. I'm scared about San Francisco after that. Oh,
I'm going to go back
the
to
Giants and Redskins in there later on, but
right, that helps.
But you still got the Bears. The Bears are stink. But then you got to go at the Vikings, at the Lions. Those are going to be tough. Honestly, they could lose 4 out of the next 7 games, and I would not be shocked at all. And then maybe even one of those other ones, like to the Giants or the Bears, where something goes stupid and they lose. They could lose 5. They could be 9-7 by the end of this, and not even make the playoffs somehow.
Well, Saquon Barkley is
this crap.
Saquon Barkley is back, and he's a monster when healthy, but he's down the road. They got McCaffrey this week, and I don't even know who the heck else is really good on their team. But
I don't either.
I don't pay.
All I know is I'm picking up Kyle Allen to start as my starting quarterback this week if I get him.
Might as well.
I have no confidence in the Packers defense, so I'm picking up the Carolina Panthers quarterback for my fantasy football team because I think he's going to score a bunch of points.
Oh man, you got to hope
that's how sad it's been.
You got to hope they can find a way to get pressure again. I mean, that's
right.
That's
maybe my fantasy football curse will hurt this guy and he'll stink, and then the Packers will win. So either way, it's a win-win.
There you go.
For me,
taking one for the team.
Either the Packers win or my fantasy football team wins, one or the other. But something's going to be right for one of the 2 of us in this world.
I got to believe they're going to bounce back this week. I got to believe this again. I got to believe this was a wake-up game, a refocuser, a one that just dials people back in. You know, every team has a bad loss or a couple during the year. Even the best teams do. They'll have games like this. Maybe not quite this bad, but you got to think it's going to definitely cause guys to reevaluate. And the coaches, the position coaches, should be looking closer at stuff and beyond the guys that aren't performing, and so all that hopefully. And I got to believe they're gonna turn around here at home and get to 8-2 and have a nice bye week and come back charged up to play San Francisco, and we'll see what happens in that one. But
we've seen them have good schemes. We've seen them, actually be productive. So we know it can happen. We just have to make sure that they get back on track here. And, Play defense like he did against the Bears. This guy's a rookie quarterback, man. Go after him. Give him crazy looks. He's gonna be confuse him or something. I don't know. Do something like that. Hey, we gotta we do any of our fun segments.
I know.
We had no good plays.
You know what?
Well,
I don't think I could have come up with one.
I could have come up with any good plays.
We could have had all
a lot of bad ones.
Would have been all WTFs. All.
Yep, it would have been all bad plays. I didn't have any problems watching the game this week. Did you?
We'll give Mason Crosby credit. 54-yard field goal. That was pretty good.
That's true. That was pretty good. I was shocked. It looked like it was going to miss at first, but it did the crazy Mason cutback in right through the middle. So
that's what he does. That's what he does. You know, he's playing that.
But we didn't have any technical difficulties, so that segment is gone. Let's see what else. It was pretty much just a rant segment for about 45 minutes or an hour.
Well, you helped me unveil some of my suppressed anger, I guess, about it, because I thought I was good, and then it got going and some stuff came out.
I thought it was good too until I saw Skip Bayless today, and that made me mad.
God.
I was ready to just be like, just throw it away and forget about it. But then I got mad because Skip kind of took that Aaron Rodgers stuff and got me mad because he was waiting for it and he used it again.
Well, we'll have more, because I'll grant you there's some of that stuff with Rodgers that is not great, but there's some other stuff. So when we get into our bye week one where we talk about Rodgers and we talk about Gary, and that's mostly what we're going to focus on during the week that they don't have a game to talk about, there's a lot of things that I want to bring up about Rodgers that I think get overlooked and overshadowed. And then I want people to take an honest evaluation of it and see, what would you rather have in this case? So anyway, I'm always going to be a fan unless he was like a total jerk for many, many reasons. But the guy's done a lot. He's proved a lot. We'll get into more of that stuff in a couple weeks. So anything else before we sign off on this one? Brother.
I'm still a Packer fan.
Yeah.
I'm still, I'm not going to be, I know it sounds like I'm a crazy, cranky jerk, but I am. I'm just a crazy, cranky Packer jerk. That's all I can say.
We just want the best for our Packers. And we want to celebrate. We want to enjoy another good year. All right. They're going to pull it together. 8-2. And if you're anyone out there that doesn't lie, if people told you after 10 weeks going into the bye the Packers would be 8-2, you would have said, that's amazing. And then even
not 8-2 yet.
Even if something happens and they lose and they go to 7-3, if at the start of the season someone said to you the Packers are going to be 7-3 going into the bye, you would have said,
that's good.
That's really good. So we got to try to keep perspective here. I know it's hard sometimes, but we got to try to keep it. All right. Brother Ben, Packers will rebound because they will take our advice once again and stop trying to cover up that they don't listen to the show, because they do.
Let's hope.
Still happy, till I dream of you. Got to find